My son was my whole world.
They were just gone. There's nothing left. When I dream about my kids, sometimes they're in trouble and I have to get to them. For that moment, they're alive and they're with me. I love dreaming about my kids because they're actually there. I met Ahmed Kandil when I was 28 and he was 30. Ahmed grew up in Cairo. He's Muslim. We both came from a very middle-class upbringing, and so we had some of the same values, even if we came from different religious backgrounds. Ahmed and I knew each other a couple of years before we got married. And then 9 months later, my daughter, Amina, was born September 1st, 2003. And then my son, Bilal, was born in January 4th, 2006. He had a job in Boston, and then in the financial crisis, had lost his employment there. And
from that point, Ahmed did not ever
smiled less, and he was less positive. He really was not the same person that he was when I met him. So Ahmed and I separated in June of 2013.
아메드와 이혼 후 서로 시간을 쪼개가며 아이들을 키워가고 있었고 1년 후 아이들과 함께 여행을 간 아메드는 그 후로 그녀의 앞에 나타나지 않았습니다.
I watched them driving off. That was the last time I saw my kids.
아이들이 돌아오기로 한 9월 1일이 되어도 아무 소식도 전해지지 않자 그녀는 서둘러 학교에 전화를 해보았죠.
But I called both schools in the morning. They told me that they weren't there and they hadn't shown up that day. At that point, I got really concerned, just hurt and really concerned about the kids. And then I called Ahmed's father in Egypt. I asked him where Ahmed was and what had happened. He didn't know what I was talking about. I wasn't concerned, which concerned me. And that to me was a real warning sign that he must have known something.
When I went to the house, there were no cars. Nobody was home. The windows were blocked. There was a curtain that was pulled aside. I called Rebecca and I told her the house is completely empty.
The bottom just fell out and I was in a free fall.
그렇게 약 한 달 후 경찰에게 받은 아메드의 비행 기록은 정말 충격적이었습니다. 아메드는 캐나다가 아닌 여러 공항을 경유해 터키의 이스탄불로 간 것이었죠.
The FBI became involved with the case in September 2014. Federal arrest warrant was issued for Ahmed by the Eastern District of Virginia for 2 counts of international parental kidnapping.
When I looked through bank records and credit card records from the FBI, that frightened me.
아메드는 산속에 있는 생존주의자 캠프에 갔었고 총 쏘는 방법을 배우기도 했습니다. 이는 분명히 국경을 넘어가기 위한 준비 같았죠.
Created new identities. These are all possibilities, and potentially that's a reason they can't be tracked.
Hired 3 different private investigators, contacted congressmen and senators. Until September of 2015, I received an email that was simply called "Kids Are Okay. We live on a small farm and they are loving it. Just wanted to let you know that they are well and doing great. And I wasn't going to wait till you find a job somewhere and take full custody of them. So once they're old enough and can distinguish right from wrong, they will contact you." It originated in that same area in Turkey. Amina's email address had previously been checked. I got the contact of a Turkish detective looking for the kids there, looking for the IP address of this particular email. Yeah, I were able to recover. And then I found out that Ahmed applied for an Egyptian ID card in 2016. I really wanted to go to Egypt, but I've been intently warned against going there. Not protected overseas.
It makes things a lot more challenging because specifically in Egypt, parental kidnapping is not considered a crime.
There's really no recourse.
아미나와 벨렐 외에도 미국에서는 해마다 수천 명의 아이들이 부모에 의해 유괴되고 있고 이와 비슷한 사건들이 정말 많다고 합니다.
And that day changed my life.
Aziz was the greatest blessing to our family.
Aziz's mother, Rabia, was born in Columbus, Georgia. Her family's originally from India and Pakistan. We met in Alabama when we were in school. She's a very strong personality. For someone who also has a strong personality, we were attracted to each other. Over the course of a few years, we realized that we wanted to get married. When Aziz was first born, we actually lived with my parents in New Orleans. But, Rabia had a hard time getting along with them, and, it was very clear that we couldn't live in the house. As Aziz grew older, we started having lots of problems. Fighting was almost daily. So in April of 2014, we decided to separate. Requested that she go back to Atlanta because that's where her family's support was. And she made it seem like, hey, we're still working on this marriage. Let's try to make this work.
And then after several months, out of left field, Abdul was served with divorce papers.
Rabia would put up hindrances and roadblocks trying to stop me from seeing Aziz.
It seems that during that whole period, she was meeting with lawyers. And then once she filed divorce papers, Rabia blocked Abdul from seeing Aziz. The divorce was finalized in 2015.
And it was right about a year later when the custody evaluators recommended that I get primary custody of Aziz, and I was going to get full custody for Aziz. We were to meet on November 28, 2017 in an Atlanta courtroom, and that's when all the restrictions were going to be lifted. We get to the Atlanta courtroom, we're waiting for our case. The judge shows up, and Rabia's not there. We waited several hours thinking or hoping that there was a delay. I left the courthouse and I didn't have my son.
그렇게 예상치도 못하게 라비아가 아지즈를 데리고 감쪽같이 사라져버리고 뒤늦게 경찰에 신고를 한 압둘칸은 그녀의 재혼 소식까지 알게 됩니다.
It was confusing, and Abdul was terrified. He always said that the nights were the toughest for him. We thought Rabia was crazy. We thought she was vindictive. We never thought that Rabia was capable of this.
We hired Private Eye in Atlanta, in New Orleans, and other places around the country to find any information about Aziz. Finally, after 2 years, the court gave a felony kidnapping warrant against Rabia for the abduction of Aziz. Once there was a felony kidnapping warrant against Rabia, the U.S. Marshals got involved in the case.
And the U.S. Marshals' involvement was about 3 years or so behind the actual disappearance. Rabia's mother and father, they were being evasive during questioning where their grandchild was or where Elliot was located. They just referred everything to their attorney.
I found out that this was something that Rabia and Elliot planned out. They both shut down their cell phones, closed their bank accounts, closed all their social media, and they disappeared. We've done everything that we can think of. Outside of, when they sold their cars in 2017, we have yet to find any credible link to them in any way. That's what makes this so hard. When Aziz disappeared, time literally stopped. So to me, he left yesterday. I'm gonna keep fighting till I see him.
안녕하세요, 덕봉입니다. 풀리지 않은 미스터리 시즌 3회 부와 부모에게 유괴된 아이들이었습니다. 매년 약 20만 명의 어린아이들이 부모나 가족 구성원에 의해 납치된다고 밝혔는데요. 정말 소름 끼치네요. 실제로 저런 일이 벌어진다면 정말 답답하고 막막할 것 같습니다. 정말 안타깝네요. 풀리지 않은 미스터리 시즌 3은 9화를 끝으로 막을 내렸습니다. UFO와 빅풋 등등 정말 기이하고 신기한 에피소드들과 많은 미즈 사건들로 구성된 시리즈였는데요. 저는 대부분의 에피소드가 흥미로웠지만 마지막 화는 미스터리와 살짝 거리가 있지 않나 하는 생각을 하게 되는 시리즈였습니다. 그래도 정말 시간 삭제되는 시리즈였던 것 같네요. 넷플릭스 오리지널 시리즈 풀리지 않은 미스터리 추천드리면서 오늘 영상 여기서 마치겠습니다. 재밌게 보셨다면 구독과 좋아요 부탁드립니다. 댓글도요. 제발 항상 건강하시길 바라겠습니다.